There's a song on the record called Eat, Pray, Drugs.
Yep.
And that's literally what you do in a town like that. I mean, it's like you're either into Jesus, into food, into drugs. Everybody's a little into all three of them.
Right.
You know, that was like how people hung out and congregated, you know? I mean, it's like you cook some food or you know, do some blow, whatever you're into.
Right,
And
yeah.
like, and that's like the day to day is like everybody's trying to get to one of those things, you
right.
know, like to church or to a drug dealer or, you know, to get something to eat. And I mean, that's literally, it's like Groundhog Day in
right.
a place like that.
In there, and like all the cute girls would go in and get their candy cigarettes. I was like a fat kid and wasn't very cool, so I would look at them and they would get their cigarettes. And I'm like, I wish I could get cigarettes like them, but instead I would get my mom's Sunday newspaper and take it home.
Oh man.
So if you could explain to people why having something that hyper local is important in a song like that.
Candy cigarettes?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a staple, and I feel like it starts like, I'm saying it in like a joking way, but it's like kidding, not kidding. You know
right.
what I mean? But it's like, I mean, that's what, from a young age, I mean, it's like, here, you can have a sip of this beer, like, yes, pretend you're smoking. And it's
right.
like, I mean, it's like, no wonder everybody here is like drinking and ripping sticks and smoking blunts, whatever. It's like, it's an instant thing. It's like, just like here where there's gum or whatever by the checkout. I mean, there's candy cigarettes. It's just like, practice now, kids.
It's wild,
so you'll
right?
be really good at it when you grow up.
It's crazy because it's like, because I remember, I don't know how old you are, but I'm 44, and you would have like old English malt liquor.
Oh
They had an iced tea. They had an iced tea, and then St. Ives had Crooked Eye. They had an iced tea.
Yep.
And so I would go to the store with my cousins, and my cousins would get Old E or Crooked Eye.
Yep.
And then I would get like the iced tea version.
Yeah.
And walk out the store with them, and we'd just be sitting on the corner drinking.
Yeah.
And they're drinking like malt liquor, and I'm drinking iced tea.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
That is really crazy. I was definitely drinking the malt liquor. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm a country person. I mean, I'm from like the country. My country just wasn't Mayberry. I mean, we weren't sitting on a porch drinking ice cold cherry Coke. I was sitting in a hot ass Pontiac, thirsty as hell, trying to score some Coke probably. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that like hip hop and rap was kind of what was like parallel to what I was doing. You know, I mean, I was listening to shit about being a ride or die chick because I was doing that. I didn't know any better. I was getting myself in all kinds of trouble, and like, so I loved country music. I just it wasn't speaking to me in the way that was because I was doing all kinds of crazy shit. So it was really important to me to like make sure that the same sounds that I was listening to in that shitty car came through on this record. So I started digging into like, I mean, I used to bump the hell out of Super Tight. And so I went through and I'm like listening to what are these songs have in common, like what are these sounds? And I'm like, man, they did a lot of this shit on an SP.
Right.
So I started calling people. I'm like, who's got an SP?
Well,
everybody's like, what the hell are you talking about?
I figured you knew like 5 producers in your vicinity.
Nobody had one. I was gonna rent one. I was like, fuck, I'm gonna have to fly to New York and like it would be like nobody has an SP and and Kid Rock had one.
Yes.
So he was like, what the hell do you want that for? And I'm like, I need it. So I drove out to his place and let me take it, and my producer hacked it, which was no easy feat, you know. Like we could have used plugins, but I didn't want to do that. Like everything about this was getting to this record was hard. Being able to talk about the shit on this record was hard. I wasn't going to take the easy way of making it. I wanted to be authentic. So a lot of those sounds came from the same place that the music I was listening to came from.
There are very few country records that make people change their lives. I had a conversation with Chris Tomlin before I had this conversation with you.
Oh, man.
And we were talking about making records that occupy the space between life and death. And it's like a real thing. And I feel like country and, you know, like Christian religious music are the only 2 spaces that really, like every single day, traversing that all the time. So
Yeah.
if you could talk about that record and A, being able to get that out, and then B, being able to watch it influence people already.
That was a song that like lived like as a lump in my throat, you know, for a really long time. And I purposely, when writing this record, I surrounded myself with the people that I enjoyed writing with the most and that I trusted the most and that I could say anything with. And like when you're on the same wavelength as people, like they know when to just hold your hand through it or when to whatever. And I mean, those people in that room made me brave enough and gave me a space where I wasn't judged or I didn't feel like I needed to tweak the truth or anything. I mean, that was like I didn't realize how traumatic that was until I started like speaking it out and trying to put it in a song. So I healed a lot, you know, and I like loved myself through that, and I'm surrounded by like great friends that like loved me through that too. It was a really, really heavy writing session, but it was a really great release after.